Oh, yeah.
Reminded when the president was speaking of a conversation that I had yesterday with one of the Democratic senators who was questioning me during a hearing, and she was ridiculing President Trump for his math, and she was saying it's mathematically impossible to have a drug drop by 600% cost, which he had claimed. And I said, well, if the drug was $100 and it raised the price to $600, that would be a 600% rise. Well, if it drops from 600 to 100, that's a 600% savings. And the president used that mathematical device to illustrate the magnitude of the theft that has been happening against our country and our people, as he said.
Look, I'm going to mute it and go back and look at Dr. Oz.
I was just going to say, like, never a good sign when you're being laughed at.
Yeah. Well, and then he's like, yep, the math checks out. This mathematical device. Look, I think this is a part of the bigger story we were talking about earlier, the sycophants in the White House. These guys aren't administrators, they're clowns.
Yeah.
Who's the next to go?
I mean, we've seen Trump seemingly protecting the men who are completely incompetent around him and getting rid of the women. The White House apparently has told Tulsi Gabbard she has until the midterms to get out or she will be pushed out. She's fighting it. But to go back to that Kennedy clip, I don't want to blow anybody's mind here with like astrophysics, but a $100 to a $600 increase is 500%, not 600. And a $600 to $100 decrease is like an 83% decrease. If it was 600%, they would be paying you to take the drug. The number would be negative. Like the fact that he is so confident in that gets to the exact problem for why this administration can't solve its problem.
Look, this is the same guy who did this.
Do you know how much overall enrollment is expected to decline?
No, I know that the last time we looked at it, it was flat, except for the 1.5 million people who were cheating. So 1.5 million who were committing fraud. If you deduct that number, the enrollment was flat, but I don't know how it will be.
Or this.
Mr. Chairman, we've done better at controlling the outbreak than any country in the world. This is a global outbreak.
So controlling the outbreak better than anyone in the world, which is absolutely not true. There's something like 1,800 cases. Last year, there were 250, something like that. It is an outbreak. Maybe what he means is that we caused an outbreak and we're controlling it, and no other country in the world has an outbreak. So perhaps that logic is true.
It must be. I mean, Kennedy was on the Hill multiple times this week talking to lawmakers. Republicans were standing up and saying, your math is incorrect. He claimed that vaccines don't make people less likely to get the flu. We saw the Republican senator from Louisiana stand up and say, I have the numbers right here. You have misread the study that you're citing. You don't understand the math. And then you had Republicans in the House pointing out that the measles epidemic has skyrocketed. There have been thousands of cases in 2025 alone. You had one Republican lawmaker say to Kennedy's face that the idea that Tylenol causes autism is nonsense. He's the father of an autistic child. And Kennedy threw up his hands and he said, well, what do you expect? I'm just the Secretary of Health and Human Services. I can't be expected to know all the numbers.
Oh my God. So how did he, 6 months ago, I was writing about him every week. What happened in that 6 months? Our attention moved elsewhere? We started bombing Venezuela and Iran and all of this. Why doesn't he just go where he came from and stay out of the public light?
I mean, he is obsessed with attention. I mean, you look at this guy, Kennedy, you look at Hegseth, you look at Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, all these people who said, if I was in government, I'd fix it. This is what I do, and we'd fix it in a week. And now they are in government or have been kicked out of government. And they spend their whole time, like Kennedy does, throwing up his hands and saying, what do you expect me to do? This is hard. I mean, Kennedy was the lead lawyer on a case about glyphosate, a fertilizer that causes cancer. We're seeing higher rates of cancer in Iowa because of it. He was asked about that at a hearing this week. And he said, well, yeah, I did believe that, but Donald Trump really thinks that it's good for farmers. So I can't be expected to tell him he's wrong. Then why are you there? You're the Secretary of Health.
Why do you exist?
Why do you exist? Why are you the way that you are? As Michael Scott said.
Well, yeah, or as Jack Donaghy says, what happened to you?